dream team here. I'm having too much fun with the slime dream team here. Jump back into this. The abrupt change. Alright, instead of walking all the way there, I did do a little bit of post stream last time collecting. We've got almost everybody from the from this area now. I did grab a few things. I think the only thing we haven't tamed is the frog and the bird. The only two we haven't tamed yet. I haven't seen the frog or the bird though. It's kind of... Oh yeah, the dragon's down this path. I don't really want to have to try and get around him. I don't know where the bird spawns. And I haven't seen the frog. I think because of the weather? Hang on, let's take a look. Local monsters. Bird. No, not here. It's R button. Okay, so it's the winter in the circle of tempers where you'll find it. Okay. And then the frog is in the fall. Okay, so we need the fall and the winter for those two. That's why we don't have it yet. That would be why. We'll come running around in the next season, try and get what we're missing. What's gonna be down? I think we have another tournament to do over here. I think is what this is gonna be. Because there's another section of the area here we haven't gotten to yet. Because we need those gates closed. Oh, that was much closer than I thought it was. Oh yeah, I saw this on fast and auto battle. Two sets of spell prevention. Yeah, Doomkeeper's gotten very strong. Doomkeeper's gotten very strong. Where Gaunt has all the like physical prowess and like damage, Doomkeeper has like all the bonus effects. All the debuffs and dots are on Doomkeeper. It's pretty nice. Any new points yet? No. We have an absolutely absurd amount of talent points so far. It's gotten very, very silly. Alright, what is in here? So we gotta save that guy's kid.
Dear me, it looks like he's in a spot of bother.
Seems things have gotten a little dicey.
Who's this guy? Smoke bomb!
The discombobulator's a real lifesaver. Glad I swiped it from the village back there.
Oh, this is the thief.
Pardon me, are you all right? Wait, are you a human?
Yeah.
Well, well, an elf mixing with monster kind. How intriguing.
What in the world are you doing here?
Okay, first things first. The name's Trouble. Toylin Trouble. I'm a researcher of magic.
Alright then. Of course that's his name.
I came to Naderia in search of treasure. Like this nifty little number I pocketed earlier.
You're a researcher or a thief?
If you've got a problem with me, monster boy, don't bite your tongue. Can't stomach a little petty theft, huh? That's a bit rich coming from one of your kind.
You don't want to kick his ass. This guy's a dick.
Huh? Oh, this. I stole it from that rat's horrible little hovel.
Fuck this guy.
Do you need it by any chance? I suppose I could hand it over. Huh. You'd like that, wouldn't you, monster boy?
No, I'd rather take it.
Well, either way, I guess you're no fan of receiving stolen goods, am I right? So, what's your plan? Perhaps you'd rather rob me of it instead.
You know, my curse stops me from hurting other monsters. Doesn't stop me from hurting humans. I say kick his ass.
So let me get this straight. It's wrong to steal, but fine to win something in a fair fight. You know what? I think I'm starting to like you.
I really don't like this guy. Don't like this guy at all.
But I think I've wasted quite enough time on wannabe vigilantes. See you around.
And he just runs away?
Toil and trouble. What a bizarre individual. Well, the Infernal Gate should be somewhere inside. Let's be careful as we go.
Can I throw him into the Infernal Gate? Oh, so we have like a whole area here. Oh, I wonder if this is just the quick travel point in here. A rock bomb shard? What the hell is that? An unstable stone that explodes when it strikes its target. Almost kills a single enemy when used in battle, but the damage it inflicts will vary according to the target's resistance to instant death. Oh. Does this have new monsters to it? Oh, it does. There are 2 new monsters local to this location. A lot of these little lantern lads in here. Oh, we got this guy. The Blinkster.
Now.
Do so much to this scouting image now. Very powerful. Let's try again. No, well, now they're pissed. Now I don't have a choice. Now we just gotta beat them up. I think I did make a box slime. I went and got another she slime to make a box slime, so I have him on my... just sitting on the back line. Well, let's throw this at the Blinkster. Doesn't really matter what you do. Do 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 do.
Here.
I'll throw you a smoked sirloin. Big. Where do we get the bedazzle on? 3 bedazzles done? It only affects melee damage. Yeah, I don't think it affects spell casting. This should be like basically impossible to dodge now. I think, oh, nice, nice, 69. Oh, we didn't need to fizzle, that was lethal. Didn't need to fizzle, that was lethal damage. Oh, I don't have anything on my reserve. We did get the Blinkster though, let's go. Oh yeah, I want him to join me. What do we get from the Blinkster? What do you carry forward? What are you built around? Was it ice damage it was doing? Frizz, heal, crack, drain magic, sap, sizz, whoosh, oomph, splash, and boom. And otherwise it gets MP boost. Oh, that's super great. Got a bunch of MP boostings. We might breed you into something else later. What can the thing tell us about? Wonderkin Wizards of the Monster World. On stage, their sleight of hand skills might be somewhat lacking, but the crowd could boo those... What crowd could boo those adorable faces? Suggested combinations is with a ghost monster? Okay. We got a lot of these guys after us now. Treasure chest up here. RPG mechanic, are you tired of developers trying to make happen but always feels gross? Probably weapon durability. Weapon durability was done once, ever. That was done well, and that was back in Oblivion with the repair hammer system. And by done well, I meant didn't feel like horrible to have to engage with. Every time weapon and armor durability is introduced in the game, it's done poorly. Every single time. Definitely the one mechanic I'm tired of having to deal with, because it just is never done properly. It always feels miserable to have to engage with. I'd say that one's definitely the one I dislike the most. I don't really think any of the other ones are done too horribly, unless they're like weird one-off things, which Pokemon is notorious for. It's one-off stupid ideas that like, oh yeah, this is cool, we're gonna try it for one game and then never touch this ever again. Otherwise, Venetia Silver, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the thoughts. I hope you enjoyed them. What is this? What do we got hiding back here? Repair costs work in MMOs compared to single player? I think they serve a purpose, but like largely I don't think they're left to be relevant for too long. I think old school RuneScape's the only game where you really feel them being important on like higher level gear, but even then it's just more in the way to use things like barrows rather than... Oh, we can't go this way. Rather than actually being like an actual game mechanic that makes sense to exist. And then like in World of Warcraft, repair costs are really just more of a thing that exists and are just in the way rather than actually being a game mechanic, because they're either completely ignorable and only really affects like the highest level players in the game. They really don't do a lot. So by and far, repair things, while realistic in like mechanic to have, don't bring anything to the game. Like they're just kind of, it's just in the way. It really just isn't a mechanic that's good or fun or anything less than like, okay, cool. From some avenues, I've heard them to be called a gold sink to regulate the economy, which has been a colossal and abject failure in every video game it's existed in. What MMO doesn't have a completely fucked economy? Because unless you're directly controlling it as a developer, it's a completely hands-off situation. On top of that, you get things like WoW token and gold selling. The economy is instantly completely devalued and is meaningless by that point. So like that argument doesn't even hold up. There are better and more common, more functional ways to handle it than a gold sink system with a repair cost. Yeah, EVE Online being the exemption, not the rule. EVE Online definitely being the exemption, not the rule there. That's a completely unique circumstance for certain. That game functionally is different than pretty much anything else anyone will ever play. It's a very unique game. I don't think there's anything this way. I'm trying to find treasure chests and stuff. Is your second job or your real job? Yeah, pretty much. You either play EVE as a tourist and you're gonna play it for like 3 days. But if you play it regularly, it's either this is a job, this is my second job, this is my side hustle, or it's my main job. I exclusively play EVE Online if that's the case. Why are we suddenly having such a hard time getting the Blinksters to take scouting damage? Why did that change all of a sudden? I wonder if Metal Drak is in this game. I think I can make Dragon Kid, and then I think it was just Dragon Kid and any material monster to get Metal Drak. Because then I know Metal Drak and King Slime is Metal King, which is pretty cool. I guess we'll take the Lampling.
You're one of us now.
I'm just collecting extra monsters at this point. I don't really need any of these guys, it's just extra things to breed with. Are you level 10 already? Or I know this one needed to hit level 10. What are you at? You're also level 9, okay. Agility booster? A lot of the talent point carryover I don't think is going to be super important for many of these. Doing the grind to get more FF14 jobs to aid you Planewalker with, and able to develop a better opinion of the game's of their design practice now. Yeah, the longer you stick with it, the more you're gonna see kind of what makes the game tick overall and why it's pretty successful at what it tries to do. Oh, I remember the cat things. These are also a Dragon Quest III monster. The vampire cats, they're down by down going towards the Isis kingdom. In the desert. Near Romilly Castle? Yeah. Still think healers are in need of a heavy focus of what mess did we make? Yeah, healers suffer a bit of an identity crisis for sure. Healers are definitely in a weird position overall. I don't think it's a bad position, but definitely a weird one. Where the game's designed in a weird way around how that works. Okay, these are level 11. Holy shit, okay. You're already ready to go. We can do whatever we want with you. What do you have? Anti-Magician. Ooh. Ooh, at 100 points you get bounce on this thing? That's pretty sick. Stinky over here. That should be everybody in this area. Yeah, that's all 3 monsters here. These feline fiends are often found flying through the skies. If you catch one grooming itself, it's a sure sign it's about to rain. Oh. Does it have any recommendations of what we should stuff that in the breeding pit with? A Powie Yowie. I wonder what that makes. Need to crack down on them to add more kit interaction or offer a mini caster kit that feels small but has flexibility. Yeah, I think the only one that really has like the starting points of that even is like Scholar. Oh, there is like a little like thing back that direction. Hold on. I think Scholar's the only that has like any real like pieces there, and I think that's because it has to share with Summoner with Arcanist. Okay, there's just a bunch of these dudes sleeping back here. There ain't nothing else, really. I'm surprised. I figured there'd be a chest or something back there. It's weird to me to actually have the map in a Dragon Quest Monsters game because I'm so used to not having a map. Yeah, it'd be neat to have a little more identity. I don't know if we're gonna get any big changes like that to 14, but it would certainly be nice to have happen. Oh, there is something back here. Okay, sweet. There's a chest in this way. At the same time, though, I wouldn't want 14 to be as weird as WoW is with design, to where you just end up with some classes are just not ever played because they're not usable. But WoW is also designed around the game being treated like a competitive esport, and 14 is not. Because 14 is a casual game first, and that's its first and foremost design philosophy. Like, progression content and like max level raider, like world first and like really difficult group content is definitely an afterthought for the game. It's not the main reason the game is set up. If you mean that by 14 is NASCAR and WoW is street racing and that 14 is more regulated, I would say they're both NASCAR in that regard, but in two different ways. Like, WoW is definitely built around, we want a competitive, like, this is a game people, they've wanted WoW to be like what StarCraft is for many years. And WoW's never going to be that. That's not what WoW is ever designed to be. Oh, like in Classic? Yeah, if you're comparing Classic, but I think it's disingenuous to try and compare an MMO that came out and shaped the genre in 2004 and is very, very rough on the edges in basically every capacity, to 14 that had a miserable initial launch that almost tanked the game, and then a relaunch that effectively was an entirely different game built on principles learned from the mistakes of both its own launch and at that point over 10 years of World of Warcraft's existence, among other MMOs already being in the market. I think that's a difficult comparison to make that has any real like substance to it, simply because of the discrepancy of time. It's like trying to compare how does Super Metroid functionally look design-wise compared to something like Dead Cells. It's a very difficult comparison to make and it not feel very strange. Yeah, like an iPhone to a Nokia. Like, it's a very difficult like comparison to draw.
My brothers are gonna be so impressed.
I feel like I recognize this monster and I don't remember what it was called. Yeah, I definitely recognize this. I definitely recognize this. I don't remember what the hell this thing was called, but I've definitely had this monster before.
You bet I am. My name's Bernie.
My name's Bernie.
The Brimstone Boys.
I love the voice acting in this game. The voice acting in this game is fucking incredible. The Brimstone Boys.
Well,
I'm from South London, mate.
Would you mind shutting that gate? It's causing no end of trouble.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why should I care? I'll have you know that opening this gate is a big part of our plan.
Are these guys all working for Cuno from Disco Elysium?
And I'm not about to let you
Cuno not about to let you have that gate shut.
On guard!
Toriyama's art style seems rough here. I think it fits. I think it translates well. It looks just like it does in all the Dragon Ball games that are like 3D like this. He's got that like outline look to it. I think here it probably looks weird because they're trying to emulate that like heat, like because it's all lava and volcanic. They're trying to get that like heat mistiness around everything. I think that's where it's really starting to kind of look a little strange.
Let's get him.
But I'm definitely quite happy with how this game looks, honestly. I think Toriyama's art style translates really well to This is just a straight boss fight, okay. to the like a 3D model setup like this, where a lot of manga artists definitely don't have that benefit to their art style translating really well. Like I'm not a big fan of how Berserk looks in like its anime and stuff by comparison to like the the manga drawings for it. I don't think that translates well at all. I think it's too vivid is the thing. I know there's some people that don't like a vivid look to things. I definitely don't mind it. I actually prefer things to be a little brighter because then I don't have to crank the gamma on my monitor to be able to see anything. I'm definitely not the kind of person who is a big fan of... We have fucking Dragon Slash. Holy shit, this is going to be an easy fight with Bernie here. I'm definitely not a big fan of the era of everything is dark and brown that existed from like 2003 to like 2011. I'm for sure not a big fan of that era of gaming. Oh, that doesn't hit as hard as I thought it would. Because yeah, getting buff up on everybody's probably a really good idea. See, I was expecting this to be more along the lines of just all the tournaments. I wasn't expecting the boss fights. He's done well. I like meaningful brown, like in Demon Souls, where it felt like design choice, or Ueda games. Yeah, see, that's where I would definitely say Demon Souls is like an exemption in that regard, because then otherwise you get things like Twilight Princess or Gears of War, and just like games like that where just everything was fucking just 8 different shades of brown, and you were sitting there like you had to like just crank the fucking gamma way the fuck up on the TV. How goes the questing with dragons? The Slime Dream Team is making moves here, John. It's doing well. We're doing real good here. All right, now we're gonna. You can't hatch it, man, with Seath up. You piece. You piece. All right, well, Helm Splitter then. That's the exact combo I wanted. Yeah, we don't have the metallic slime yet. That's the goal. The goal is to eventually get on the metallic slime family line. Remember cheating games by cranking gamma up on my monitor when they had those old dial brightness things? Yeah, there's definitely times where I was like, I literally can't see this. We need to turn the gamma up. It was actually World of Warcraft recently. I was playing WoW in 14, and I realized I never set the monitor gamma when I bought these monitors up properly for like a year and a half. Because I was constantly like, I can't fucking see anything. And I realized I didn't actually go in and adjust anything. I went in and finally set the monitor and was like, oh, okay, now we're good. You don't have a metallic slime? I can tell you suck because it's the only slime that matters. I mean, you're not wrong. The She Slime's been pretty good. She Slime's been very good. I think I'm probably pretty close. The metallic slime I don't think is a thing you can get usually until a little deeper into the game. Getting it really early is pretty difficult even in the older games. We're still like very much in the early part of the game right now. Man, we're not getting any debuffs off on this thing. Do we need to do any healing yet? Aerial Slime's probably fine. Oh, I have no mana left. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's bad. I need to fix that. He's immune to fire. Okay, so all of Gaunt's fire abilities are not going to help us here. How did the Dazzle not hit him? Running for melee DPS, I think Ninja is the most loose job. Dragoon is kind of spreadsheet. Monk is... You like APM? We've got the APM. And Samurai just kind of feels dull. Yeah, Samurai used to not feel super dull, and then they removed like one of its core mechanical abilities because the JP players who parsed bitched and complained about it to the point where Yoshi P took it out, and he was not happy about taking it out because he knew everybody was going to dislike this change, but he made the change because parsers were really upset that Samurai were mad that they couldn't bring top damage to a group, or it was really hard to do top damage to the group when they bring no buff to the group. It's a really stupid argument. A very, very stupid, very frustrating argument. And it's a change that is pretty much regaled as one of the worst changes they've made to a class. Was when they took the Kaiten ability out of the game. Because it added flow and it fit in the gameplay loop of playing Samurai. And it's functionally a bad design change. The class is functionally worse for it. It's easier to do bigger damage, sure. But it feels worse to play the class because the ability is missing. The ability was that core to the game, to the class's design. Black Mage is very fun. I really like Black Mage. I feel like Summoner I could really enjoy a lot if I liked the way the abilities are set up. And I think the abilities just need to be a little bit more adjusted for me to really feel super engaged with it. I think that's really my core issue with the with those abilities. Summoner's, yeah, Summoner's definitely closer to Bard. I can't drain magic on this guy either. Yeah, Summoner's definitely closer to Bard, and where there's a lot going on and not all of it feels meaningful. Oh, fuck. That's really bad. It probably means he's getting really close to being knocked out. If he's going into Frenzied State mode already. Ooh, but then we had the buff up, or that would have fucked our shit up. Wow, we just cannot get these debuffs off on him. I want to go for the Helm Splitter. See if we can't get the Helm Splitter to go off on him again. Put a little bit of healing on. Yo, we got a Frenzy State? That's fucking huge. And I dodged. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, we just lost the heal slime. That's not good. That's really bad. Oh, save. Let's go, GG. First try. Think it needs less instant cast, makes everything feel floaty. I don't think the instance cast is so much Summoner's problem, is that it feels very awkward because of things like the Ifrit charge and melee attack. And then the stark contrast in between Garuda's 4-hit instance, but then it's one big hard cast that's like a 3.5-second cast, is I think the bigger issue is it's not so much that it feels floaty, it's that nothing feels tied together. Everything feels very distinct, but not collectively Summoner. And I think that's my core issue with Summoner overall, is that Summoner needs to feel more together. Everything feels individually really good, but not a collectively strong design all around. And that's more my issue with it. I think we got talent points, but I skipped the talent point assignment. Oops. Alright, Bernie. Close the fucking gate. You fucking idiot.
This kid can really fight. Just wait till my big brother's here about this.
Yeah, solid frame, no axle. It's got great bones, but everything inside, everything you've got on the bones is not super great. Exactly. Like, the idea is there, it just doesn't feel fleshed out well enough. It needs a better flow. Bard kind of has that with that issue with the songs being almost in the way, because they've like, you have to keep these up, but they're not really part of the rotation. Bard fights with itself almost in that regard, where it has half of it being wanting to be Bard, but then the other half of the class wants to be Archer. And it almost feels like you should have just taken Archer into Ranger as its prestige class and made Bard its own thing individually. It's almost like two classes taped together and can't really decide which one it wants to be. That's another class I would say. Bard compared to Dancer and Machinist, I don't feel like has the full identity it needs to have. It almost feels like it's having an identity crisis. Which I wouldn't want it watered down to feel very, like, neutered, but I also don't want it being very clunky at the same time, I guess is what I'm saying. MMOs are weird, though, because my yuck is someone else's yum, and changing Bard to be what I want it to be like would be like how other people who didn't like how Samurai was took Kaiten away and made me not like my class that I enjoy. So I'm on that, in that weird spot of, I would like to see this change, but not necessarily if it's the change that needs to happen. Because, like I said, there's other people that play the class and play it a different way. Red Mage is like Dragoon to me. You get a big spike and then a maintenance phase. Yeah, Red Mage is like a sine curve. Yeah, you have your highs and your lows, and you're not always in a high, but when you're in low, it doesn't feel bad either. I think that's what's nice about those two classes. They don't really feel bad, but outside of their high point. Their high and their low feel good. We pushed the lever. I think that's the good parts about those. I know Dragoon they want to do a little bit of work with, and I hope it doesn't steal the identity of how its rotation plays, because that would be very bad, I think. I think that would make Dragoon feel much worse to, like, really undercomplicate it. I think it takes away a lot of what makes the class what it is. But there's definitely parts I don't think are a little dated design-wise for it as well. We've got a whole nother section of the level now. My yuck is tanks like playing them, but it's like eating 4 different burgers, same toppings, but they want to put the mayo in different places. I've been complaining about that for a very long time, and there are people who are tank mains that will disagree with me, and I'm like, you don't understand the tanks you're playing then. The only tank that truly feels diverse compared to the 4 is Gunbreaker. And if they ever change Gunbreaker to just feel as homogenized as the other 3 at this point, I'll probably just stop playing them.
Like that did the trick.
But you can effectively set your action bars up in exactly the same way for all 4 tanks, because they have the exact same amount of abilities that do the exact same things with 4 different styles of visual effects on them, but they all functionally are the same abilities for the same classes that do the same things in a slightly different flavor. Dark and Gunbreaker are slightly more unique, but Warrior and Paladin are almost virtually the same class, except the only difference is one uses an axe and one uses a sword and shield. They're functionally the same class otherwise.
Now,
like, Paladin doesn't feel like a Paladin, it just feels like shield tank.
Back to Dragonnook.
Whereas
Come on.
Warrior doesn't feel like Warrior, it's just axe tank. And both Gunbreaker and Dark Knight are slowly falling closer and closer to the same thing. I'm really hoping that in the next expansion that doesn't come to fruition. I hope there's a bit more diversity in the class flavoring. Okay, so we can't do anything else here. We just gotta leave. Oh, can we just, like, leave using this now? Oh, we can. This is a fucking shortcut. This is awesome. Hell yeah, we want to just go this way. The Warrior Rage should change its shape of attacks. Like, Mithril Tempest becomes a cone. Honestly, that's another thing for Samurai that I fucking hate, is all the conal attacks became AoE, became circle AoEs, and they feel awful. It feels way worse as a Samurai to have to run inside the pack of mobs, where it's far more dangerous. You're going to take way more damage to do appropriate AoE. That's not good design. It just feels miserable. I would much rather it have stayed a conal attack, because that just was functionally a better design setup. I'm not a big fan of the removal of conal attacks and in favor of them becoming circle AoEs. So I would definitely be okay with like Mithril Tempest changing for we just got an Asbestos Belt. Okay. I definitely would be more in favor of circle AoEs becoming cone attacks again, because I think it's just better design. So what's all in the lava pits here that we couldn't get to before? Is it just shortcuts across, like, pathing and stuff now? I think this just opened up new areas to get to is all. Oh, we're in autumn. I should be able to grab the, it's a really big fucking she slime. Should be able to grab the bird now. The concept of rage for warrior. Low rage means better control, but less damage. High rage means less control, more damage. Yeah. I think there's a lot of concepts and design philosophies that are there that aren't built on. And I think there is a good chunk of that design philosophy is built that way. Simply because they want the game to be an easy to pick up and not like a hard one to pick up. Yeah, I found leveling up my Paladin that I was not a big fan of the storytelling. Paladin's storytelling really just doesn't function. But there's definitely like there's a lot of identity of class that's really not explored, and I think it's done so that things don't feel like there's massive outliers.
Now.
But I also don't think that's a great thing overall either. Like, it's both 14's like greatest strength is how easy it is for a new player to just come in and pick it up, but it's also at the same time its greatest design weakness. Just simply for the fact that it really doesn't give them a lot of room for class design and diversity. And I get why. I definitely understand why. Because you can definitely see, like, in World of Warcraft where no matter what they do, they can't really ever get it to a point where there isn't a mathematical best option people figure out. And you have to almost design around not letting your players do that. Like, you have to save your players from themselves effectively when it comes to just spreadsheeting out the best options possible. So, like, to avoid a most effective tactic available, you effectively kind of have to neuter your design just a bit, because you have to save your players from themselves. If you don't, they're just going to run fucking the gamut on it. And then you end up in a situation like WoW where you're playing a solved game rather than a video game. You know, there's no puzzle left to solve at that point, because everyone solved it for you. I tried WoW Hardcore, like the grid of the controls and playing Warrior, it's a pain, but it's kind of like going to a gym pain. Yeah, it's because, like, Classic has that rigidity that makes it where you don't really just win the game. You have a puzzle to solve, and every encounter is a new puzzle to solve. There's no real point where Classic just becomes this steamroll, and Hardcore has that added aspect of, well, death is the end, so you don't want to... Death is failure, so that's a big, like, thing, is you don't want to lose that one opportunity you've got now to make progress. So every Hardcore becomes its own kind of unique thing, almost like that, because it's not a thing you can just solve the problem of. Like, you have to actually, every encounter becomes a problem to solve, rather than the whole game is just, oh, well, I know this, this, and this, I take this talent at this level, and then I win. There's a degree of it that can be quote-unquote solved by taking, like, what's considered the most effective pathing to level up, but that doesn't necessarily always work, and there's always room for mechanical errors and mistakes that can change that.
You're one of us now.
Got the frog. But I think that's a big difference overall in the design of World of Warcraft rather than just inherent to MMOs overall. I think that's a specific to World of Warcraft situation in general. Poison Preventer. Okay, so it's HP, MP, and then this. Praise the boss design of 14. Zot's final boss is like a WoW raid. Oh, yeah, like, the dungeon bosses in 14... Like, WoW's raid bosses can't even hold a candle to how well designed the dungeon bosses are, let alone their raid design bosses. 14's overworld and, like, its flow of content doesn't land with everybody all the time, and a lot of that does come from a lot of players have been trained that the game starts at endgame. And, like, if you're not at endgame, you're wasting time. And that's a mentality you basically have to kill, because it's incredibly detrimental and toxic to your overall enjoyment of video games as a whole. But it's also not how you play a game that isn't World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's design being built that way is kind of just kneecaps their entire ability. Yeah, raid ready boost. I opened up Battle.net the other day, and I actually didn't log into WoW after looking at that, because I was just like, you fucking kidding me? What is this? What is this? Like, are you serious? Just skip the whole video game? And like, I'm not gonna buy that, obviously, but there are people who will. Like, that's preying on people who just don't know any better. It's the same thing as the Destiny Fresh Start back that Bungie got lambasted for. It's not like you're not getting anything from that doesn't take you more than a couple hours for 2 or 3 days of playing the game to unlock. Is this considered like a super mega large one? Like, this thing's huge. No, that's just a really big she slime. But yeah, it's just like, is that really the state that the game is in now? Is that we just have to pay to get all the way to the end right away because none of the rest of the game matters? Like, that shows you what they really feel about things like the leveling process and like where the game actually functionally like sits at. That just leaves you kind of like, all right, well, why am I bothering to play the game when all the parts I like about the game, the devs themselves don't even want to put time and investment in, and they don't want you engaging with. They don't want you engaging with leveling. They don't want you playing old content. They don't want you playing last patch's content. They want you playing today's content. Stay away from that old content. Old content is bad. Whereas a game like 14, I can shut off the game, not play it for 2 months, and then come back, and it's like this, where I'm right where I hit save on, and I can jump right back in and not have to worry about it. And it's like, why if I do that in World of Warcraft, I'm behind. I missed out. I wasn't there. That doesn't seem fun. RuneScape is the same way. Every time you hit log out of RuneScape, that logout could be until tomorrow. That logout could be until, you know, July. When you log back into the game, you're right where you left off. Everything's just as relevant as it was when you logged out last time. Nothing was replaced. Everything is evergreen. I think that's a big thing WoW has always struggled with. And I've only started noticing it now that I play more games than just World of Warcraft. I definitely didn't notice it as much before. They tried distracting players with Alexstrasza's dragon cleavage, but they still have the same tactics. I don't think her dragon cleavage was ever even remotely successful enough at what it tries to do to be considered a distraction tactic. Rando oof. Oh god. Wow. One shot that guy. A little overkill, I think. Yeah, it's definitely like I definitely only really have an interest so much in WoW, honestly, at this point. And it's not like, oh, the game's done anything specifically to do this, or Blizzard's done anything specifically to just ruin my investment in the game. It's not. A lot of it is, I've played World of Warcraft for going on 14 years. That's a long fucking time to play one game. And largely, like, 1, 2, 3, and 4 characters. Because I know which characters I like the most, and I've really only played those 4 characters for the last, like, 14 years. I've done almost everything I've ever wanted to do in WoW, and then some. There's not a lot left to do. And like and the other half of it is just design. WoW's not designed for a casual player anymore. It's not. It hasn't been for a very long time. And that's a big part of why I don't play a lot of WoW anymore. 14's designed for someone like me who just wants to play a video game. I'm not a progression I have not cared about raid progression. I shit you not, since Mists of Pandaria. That was 2012 was when Mists came out. I haven't given a shit, a fucking ounce of a shit, about any amount of progression raid content or being considered good at the game in over 10 years. I don't care. You know when people say, oh dude, I parsed it a fucking 94, man, dude, I'm so good at the game. You know what I say to that? Okay, you can read Icy Veins. You know what the fuck you're talking about. You have no idea you have no idea how to look at like game design and understand what's functional and what's not and why it doesn't work that way. Because you haven't looked enough under the hood to understand the game you're playing. You just know how to regurgitate the information that's been spreadsheeted out and documented so you understand it. Anybody can do that. I feel like 14 could add battle levs back for DPS job leveling while waiting a 10-minute queue. Yeah, I think losing levs was a bad idea. Levs kind of falling out and really not... I don't think they exist in Endwalker. If they do, I don't know where to pick them up. I know they were in Shadowbringers. I don't know if they're in Endwalker. Yeah, renting knowledge versus owning knowledge. I did all my own theory crafting. I built all my own talent trees. I would use Icy Veins and stuff as a tool, as a point of reference tool to cross-check like math I couldn't do myself because I didn't have access to like the back-end equations to how damage is calculated, but I could use that as a standing point of like, all right, what's the math look like behind this? And then going, all right, well, I understand your theory is sound, but it doesn't fit into a real-world situation. You want these and these abilities, and this works in like the perfect situation. Like you hit that perfect, the planets have aligned boss pull. Yeah, you're gonna get that damage throughput, but not in every single pull situation. That's just not reasonable. It's not gonna happen. It's also dependent on your spread for classes in your group. And like that's a big part of it. That's a big part of why I got out of the WoW raiding communities. I cannot stand it anymore. It's a horrible, horrible, toxic place to be now. Everybody acts like they fucking know everything and they don't know a goddamn thing. And then they'll sit and both defend bad game practices and bad design. The amount of guilds I've joined that just justify that it's completely okay to sell raid runs for gold and sell raid runs for PayPal money, and that doesn't damage the integrity of the game as a whole, is mind-boggling that people can even think like that, first of all. Yeah, fire mages have their own second-to-second math you have to decide just in your own rotation. You can't just, oh, I just know how to play fire mage. There's a lot to learn, and there's some weird game mechanics and weird emerging gameplay if you really want to just do some real degenerate shit with a fire mage. Balanced Druid has a similar concept. You can ask fucking Cider. Cider's played a Balanced Druid for God knows how long. There's a lot of degenerate bullshit you can do that the normal player does not have to do to play well on a Balanced Druid. But you can do some pretty degenerate gameplay with it. But you have to, that shit you have to learn how to do. You can't just read up and be like, oh, they'll just go do this. Like, that's not how that works, homie. 14 has a lot of that in like small second-to-second decision making and like learning how slide casting functions. And understanding like second-to-second things. You'll learn a lot of that playing a healer in 14. Healers have a lot of that they have to learn, because you have to adjust not just to the boss's mechanics itself, but then also to the other players in your group, because a player makes a mistake and you have to be able to figure that out.
That reminds me.
But like I think it just comes down to is 14 has a more managed community, which has curated the experience, and I feel just makes a better game to play. Of the two overall, 14 may not have the depth that you get out of World of Warcraft in class design-wise, but you're going to have a better overall, I think, experience simply out of the fact that the community is a better curated situation because they actually, you know, community manage. And I think that's a big the Succubat? What is this? I think it's overall a better experience for people. Alright, do we go for the Mommy Bat? I feel like we go for the Mommy Bat. Yeah, 14 is fair, where 14 can become fair difficulty, where WoW can become bullshit difficulty. And I think that's a big thing a lot of people don't like to admit, is that WoW's not difficult because it's fair, it's difficult because it's bullshit in a lot of ways. So Stingray and the Vampire Cat becomes the Succubat. That's a very fitting combination there, I think. I kind of want to make the Succubat. I think that's a fun unlock. Fortnite gave me Dark Souls difficulty, WoW gives me SNES game difficulty. That's a actually really good analogy. That's a really good analogy, actually. I like that analogy a lot. So what are the Meowgician? It must be the Vampire Cat too. Yeah, the Meowgician's the Vampire Cat and the Blinkster. How do we get the Slime Tower? The Feral Slime and there's a lot of ways to get the Slime Tower. Alright, I think we're gonna go with the Succubat. Succubat I think is a good idea. We're gonna make Stingray the Succubat. Stingray's getting the upgrade. Alright, let's start with... I want to take forward. I don't think I want to take the Charmer one that's new to this. Don't know how to do Ramuh Extreme, even though I tried it, but that feels like you need comms. And Ramuh is one of the walls from ARR. Ramuh Extreme was one of the, that was definitely one of the walls back then. That was definitely one of the, yeah, this is where the game gets pretty tough. This is where you're gonna learn today. So we could prevent stuns, or we can take the Anti-Magician. Anti-Magician almost seems really good for this, because that gives us a lot of variety in abilities. We get Dim, Fizzle, Ping, Drain, Mist, Kadim. Mercurial Thrust isn't very good, it bounces super good. I think the Stun Stopper is actually probably the best. Yeah, the only thing I didn't do back in the ARR days was Coils of Bahamut. I had done all of the extremes back then, at least once. Such a good fight, but I feel like that's the layer of difficulty where you don't have to make mistakes, but your ally mistakes lead you to failing. Yeah, Ramuh is definitely a fight in a situation where like WoW stopped designing this way because it's a bad design, is where one person made a mistake that pretty much costs the fight, and that really felt bad. So a lot of fights aren't made that way anymore, and that's the big reason why like WoW has stopped making fights that way. All right, I think we found the perfect progression for Stingray. She's not a slime, but the controversial Lynx Camellia video. Anisha, my answer to that is... who? I've never heard of this person, so my thoughts are nothing. I have no thoughts on them because I don't even know who they are. Can we make Gaunt even more powerful? I don't think we have anything new to turn Gaunt into. Yeah, there's nothing super good. I want to make the small fry, I think. There's a lot of complaints of the game after the dumbification of jobs through Shadowbringer and Endwalker. There's probably parts of the argument there that I could probably agree with, but probably not all of it. Like, there's probably definitely parts I could agree with and parts I can't agree with. This is the heal slime. That's the heal slime on my team. They don't want that. Here, we're gonna use it. We'll use Komodo and slime to make this. I want the small frag because I feel like we definitely get something good here. I don't disagree with it entirely. Like, on just that line of text, I don't disagree. I think there definitely is... from the Stormblood design that kind of like brought classes into their own, I feel like there's definitely a net loss in a lot of the Shadowbringers and Endwalkers design overall. Has it been a completely bad thing? No, but I think it does set the game on a dangerous precedent of an over-homogenization. And I think that's definitely a thing that the devs should be worried about. But I don't think it's an overall bad thing, but it definitely could become a bad thing. I definitely think it could end up less beneficial overall than what it is. Yeah, because I feel like this used to be called Dragon Kid, and I feel like the small fry will lead to very good things. You guys level 9? Level 10 already? You guys are level 10 already. Switch you out so we can take small fry with us. I feel like I remember it being small fry and a specific material monster created Metal Drak, and Metal Drak is an incredibly good monster for us to get our hands on. Alright, I don't think there's anything else I really need to breed into right now. Unless I wanted to go for, like, just as much as possible unlocked. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything I'm super, like, jazzed about having right now. I think we're good.
Come again.
We can come see Monty later. I've been looking into why so many devs and games lately have lost the lesson of cutscene design made by a 1998 game called Half-Life. I don't know if there was so much, like, a lesson to learn there. Half-Life's pretty unique in what it is. Like, overall, Half-Life's pretty unique for what it is. I don't know if I would totally agree with that idea. Or at least I don't know if I would subscribe to that idea entirely. Yeah, you always have full control of your character. I definitely get that part. But I think there's room to accept that video games as a medium are a medium of can be a medium of storytelling. And sometimes you need to stop and tell that story to build the world you're trying to tell. Now, doing it too much is obviously a thing you don't want to do. But I think there's definitely a lot of lessons that have been learned from that. Like, look at Midir from the God of War games. How the head tells the story that way. Look at Cortana from the Halo franchise. I think there's a lot of ways that has been done and not been, and has learned from being too invasive to the player's experience overall. But I think there's definitely parts of there's spots I think that don't do it super well. Like Red Dead Redemption does it really well, whereas I would say Last of Us is more of you're playing a movie than playing a game. And I think that is an overall detriment to that experience. You know. And I think there's room for a discussion there for sure. I don't think that's a hard and fast rule for sure. Alright, now let's finally go do some storytelling here. This is gonna be a very long cut of part of this. This is part of the game as we got so distracted with breeding. So much synthesis. The music changed. Welcome to the village of Dragonlord. Oh, it's you. Thanks for stopping the lava. You guys rock. Oh, this is just the bank, okay. So does everybody have, all the NPCs that aren't shopkeepers have new dialogue then? Everyone's happy now that lava is gone, but I can't help feeling like I've gone off the boil a little. Nate, the village's own hero. How much money do we have right now? 6,000? Holy shit. We can stock up on some stuff here. Let's buy a couple more smoked sirloins. Now I can have a lot of these. We have many monies. I like being wealthy. Wealthy good. Smelling salts, okay. Smelling salts. So let's go get our reward from the kid and his dad. Oh, hang on. There's these guys to talk to. You guys got new dialogue? Things been boring as dirt around here since the lava stopped flowing, but I suppose that's probably for the best. At least now we can return to our good old dull as mud way of life. Huzzah! I really like this monster. I'd love to have the lava version of this monster. I've seen that. We can make the other one. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll upgrade into one of those. Oh, that was the guy we did the matchmaking with. That got us the plates that I haven't figured out what the fuck to do with. Do you feel like devs make seconds and minutes feel rougher now than earlier? I think there's definitely situations for that. I don't think every game does a successful job at what it tries to do. Not but again, not everything's gonna be a winner after all, too.
Thank you.
I think if everything was a winner, I don't think we'd notice the good parts from the bad, because they'd all be the same. Oh, Specs, I use so much. Cutscene? Yep.
Without your help, my boy Nibbler may never have made it home.
Love the voice acting in this game. The voice acting game is very silly.
You really saved my tail. Oh, how delightful.
It was 14 quests
I was so happy
making you
to
go
see
back
you
to the place it
reunited.
started compared to Link Pearl Me. Yeah, but I think that has its own thing. I think that's I get what you're saying, but I think that differentiates depending on the genre you're part of. Depending on the genre of game you're playing, I think that has a different thing to criticize dependent on the situation. Like in 14, it's a medium of telling the storytelling and engaging that story in some degree of gameplay, rather than just how fast can we speed the story through for the sake of speeding through the story. I think the medium tells itself in that environment differently. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that it depends on what you're looking for, and that type of story is not going to be for everybody. And I think that's the big thing there, because I personally really enjoy it. There are only like some parts where it's like, wow, get on with it. But like, those are few and far between. It's not like, I would rather take what 14 does in every regard over go collect me 10 bear asses, kill me 12 raptors, and then come back. And like, that being the medium for the storytelling just doesn't land as clean by comparison. Or like, go here and kill 72 orcs to get to the back of this cave to open a box to get my book, to then either Hearthstone and run back to my location, or run back through the 72 orcs and kill them again to return my book. At least in 14, I'm engaged in the story directly, and I'm playing the story, rather than I'm being told the story or explained the story. You know, I'm being shown the story in 14 by comparison. And I think that's the part that a lot of people miss, is where WoW definitely fails at this, is WoW is very big on tell, don't show, and it fails to show the story. 14's maybe too far into the camp of show, don't tell. Because instead of telling us what happens, they're very adamant about showing us. But that's very much that type of that medium for the RPG that 14 Square Enix is from, is all about showing as much as possible the storytelling to give you the entire scope of the story. I think that's a more of a Final Fantasy, Square, and Enix thing overall than anything else. But it definitely, I could see your argument that it leans too far in one direction. But I think that's a difficult balance and nuanced to different genres for different reasons, even different subsections of genres even, so subgenres of genres, no less, have different rules of how that can work and where too far is
Now,
too
if
far
you
and too little
recall,
is too little.
I had something I wanted to give you, but I'm afraid I can't find it anywhere.
It's because that asshole stole it.
I mean the travel light we saw in the cave.
Hey there! You wouldn't happen to be talking about this.
Yo, can I throw him in the
Would
lava? Can I throw him in the lava? I want to throw him in the lava. I really don't like this guy. I really don't like this guy.
You again?
That's my rock! You sneaky so-and-so! You stole it from me!
Whoa there! Let's not go making wild accusations. I literally just found this outside.
Do you expect me to believe that? Just admit it! You're a thief!
You can job quest instead of back and forth between the quest giver and
Anyway,
objective
Monster Boy,
location. If the quest giver
I
moved your
believe
location, it
this
loads
is
from
what
area to
you're
area. I could definitely see
Here.
quests where that would make more sense. I
Well,
could see that. There are definitely a few
take it.
quests where that would probably be... Because they do that in parts of the main story where that makes sense. I think there are parts that in the job quest that could be done, but that may just be attributed to a different design philosophy at the time. Because you gotta figure the game made back in 2014 is very different to the game made in 2023. So I think there's definitely points where, and there's mistakes with some of those quests even now. And I think that just comes down to a difference in philosophy of design, and maybe one that needs to evolve a bit. But yeah, if that's what you mean, then I don't disagree there. There's definitely points there for that to have improvements to it, is for sure. Just small quality of life adjustments to how the flow of things function. There are some areas where it makes sense for you to have to walk back to go see a certain NPC because it's like, oh well, the area you're finding the item in is, you know, pretty dangerous. It would be pretty silly for that character to show up here. And in points where that's the case, they usually explain it pretty well. But like, yeah, Matoya's Cave is one of those of like, do we really need to backtrack back and forth here so many times? And to a degree, part of that is explained, but in other situations, it really isn't. Yeah, it's unfortunate to know that Master Matoya's VA passed. Very good voice actor. Very good voice actor.
That's not yours to give.
This rat's so fucking mad, dude.
Oh, this is wonderful! Now we can travel to a new part of Naderia.
Well, I suppose I can't be too angry. You did rescue my boy, whiskers and all.
I do so love a story with a happy ending. Now, without further ado, let's be heading to our next destination.
I like that the story's pretty loose in this game, but I also am really enjoying the fact that it's very similar to the storytelling of the last two Dragon Warrior, the first two for Game Boy Color for Dragon Warrior Monsters.
Yes, I suppose.
There's kind of like an extra little like
Wait a second.
thing going on in the background, but it's not really like super duper present yet what's happening.
Oh, did I forget to say?
Enjoy that.
I'll be tagging along from here
Glad you
on.
exist though. I like the water you add to my small fire of why game feel this way. I like it. I like a good discussion. I did go to school for history, so like it ends up when you get down to like the details of things. I do enjoy the details of things and how to pick them apart, and like, this is why it works this way, and there might be a different perspective to have on something than, you know, just the one you're looking at. It might be that like, when we step back this far and get the whole picture, you can kind of see why it might be that way. Instead of just kind of like
You
constantly
see,
being
I'm
in an echo
scouring the
situation
lab
where you're just
find
listening to
rare
yourself.
ingredients for my thaumaturgic research.
Going back to school for physical therapy? Nice. We definitely need more of those. My back and muscles definitely are quite happy for people like physical therapists and massage therapists. They're wonderful people. They have strong yet supple fingers.
Naderia's bursting with stuff I could never dream of getting back home. The problem is, it's such a pain to get here. You two seem to have it all figured out, though, which makes me think it'd be easiest just to join you. What do you say?
As long as you're not stealing shit, no.
Oh, come on. Don't be such a spoil sport. Let me tag along.
How long can we say no to this guy? Never wanted a job in tech since tech is my hobby? I can see that.
It doesn't seem he'll take no for an answer. What say we bring him along with us?
I could definitely see that. No.
Oh, come on. Don't be such a spoil sport. Let me tag along.
Oh, now he's
It
mad.
doesn't seem he'll take no for an answer.
Ah, okay, so it just repeats. I always like taking the no options
Alright,
generally,
now
because
you're
it's always like,
talking.
oh, what's the
You won't regret it. I promise.
what's the silly nonsense for? This fucking guy. This fucking guy. As a tech supervisor in Staples, I was so blah about going home to PC, though, even though I liked it. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I could definitely
And am I
understand
right
that. I
in
don't know if I'd
thinking
like
you are
building
Rose?
computers or working in like game
it'll be a
design. I
pleasure
probably would
traveling
like
together,
game
I'm
design in the right environment and the right project, but I don't think I'd enjoy it in every situation.
Yes. I suppose it will. But before we can travel to the next part of Naderia, we'll need to return to Rose Hill and use the travel light.
Take care out there.
As much as I actually do
It's a
like
real
history and I
rat
do
race,
like
but
teaching,
we're
I think I
rooting
think
for
I
you.
should have gone originally followed what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get into camera work and like, you know, entertainment and shit. I wanted to be involved in that. I should have stuck with it and done that back when I went to school, but that's a road not traveled, and one of those, you know, what if situations you could just ponder on once in a while. But what I do now with streaming, I far more enjoy. I think this is a much better situation for me overall than landing in this. You have a time travel X-Pack in 14. What era would you want to explore? I mean, to be honest, I'd find time travel to be kind of a cop-out. I think what they did with Elpis is probably the extent of what I'd ever want to see them do with time travel. I don't know if I'd want to go back and, like, get those answers of what the old eras looked like, more than what you kind of get to have to muse on and stuff. I think it would take away a lot of the value that has of the, you know, the interest of it. That's why, like, I'm really glad the way they handled Azem, and, like, never really showing us who Azem is in the storytelling, and, like, really never giving us more than we absolutely needed. Yeah, you don't ever want to reveal your hand. Don't reveal the gods. Don't reveal your hand. And I think they played that very well. They played that hand very well. It's a very dangerous hand to play, but I feel like they played that hand very well with Endwalker, and that's a big deal. They did a very good job of dancing that line without crossing it. And I don't think I'd want to see them go back and try to dance it again. That's kind of like you get a one shot, one opportunity at that. And they didn't miss their chance to blow. They did a very good job with it. So I think they've expended their goodwill with time travel. I don't think it'd be smart to play around with that concept again.
You wouldn't believe what I had to go through to get here. But it seems like that's all behind me now.
Are the new relic upgrade levels out on 14 yet? Now that we're talking about it. I would like to explore the Gelmoran Empire. Yeah, the Gelmoran Empire would be pretty cool. I think that would probably be like the one interesting thing is like what did the 12s would really look like prior to being the 12s would. I think that would definitely be an interesting thing to explore, but I think it would be more fun to do like an archaeology style expansion of uncovering the secrets of Mach and uncovering more of the secrets of Omdapor. Like, the secrets of Gelmora, and, like, you know, what remains of Nim. But, like, a lot of that's in the game already within, you know, the various job quests and storylines for those, and a couple of the raids explore a lot of that with, you know, the Dalmascan raids, the Void Ark raids, things like that. So a lot of that storytelling is really largely there. But I think there's definitely avenues to explore for some parts and pieces for sure. Alright, this is going to be a very long part of the episode for the VODs for YouTube, so I apologize to the YouTube people, anyone watching on YouTube in the future. Sorry.